All right, guys, he's out. Let's talk about Bullseye, one of the first champions being added from 2024. This guy has so much with him. He has a lot of utility. He never misses, always crits, precision immunity, and fatigue immunity. Like, very unusual immunities, but I'm here for it. I'm open to trying something new. So first up, let's talk about his combo. Now, when I was playing Bullseye, I didn't find him complicated to play. He wasn't clunky. He seemed pretty straightforward, regular 5-hit combo. And yeah, I was having a good old time with him. Nothing complicated about his playstyle to me at all. Like, he was just straight out the box, easy to play. He has the killer instinct every time he gets a special, which can be very beneficial. He has a nice heavy. Well, as long as you can definitely gauge the spacing, you can definitely use that heavy to punish a lot of champions in the game. And his specials, I really like how long his specials is. I feel like they can help you in battlegrounds, or they can definitely be a detriment when you're fighting him on defense. But overall, his specials were good. Like, he brings a lot to the table. And for the first champion of 2024 to be a utility champion, I'm supporting that. I'm definitely supporting that. So overall, I do like his combo. I feel like he brings a lot to the table with his utility. We're going to get all up into that in a minute, and I like him so far. So let's talk about his strengths. That should be fun. One of his strengths is he never misses. Not only does Bullseye ignore the opponent's miss effects, he also inflicts instant bleed damage whenever they attempt to evade or avoid an attack with their dexterity mastery. So I feel like that definitely can come in handy in several situations, especially in battle rounds. Another one of his strengths is he always crits. All of Bullseye's attacks are guaranteed critical hits that can be inflicted through the opponent's block that allow him to ignore a significant portion of the opponent's armor and resistances. So that can be very beneficial in a lot of content I'm pretty sure Kabam is working on. And another one of his strengths is his specials are very hard to dodge. Bullseye's special attacks were designed to be very hard to avoid with their dexterity mastery. To further this, many of his hits inflict instant bleed on the hit or on block. Keep in mind that these instant bleeds can be avoided with well-timed blocks. So yeah, his specials are very hard to dex. He probably has some of the hardest specials to dex in the game. But let's talk about his weaknesses. One of his weaknesses is glancing. The ability to glance Bullseye's hits negates most of his damage and prevents his instant bleeds and other hit effects from being applied. So if you're having a hard time with him, just get a champion that glances a lot and Bullseye will not be effective. So I chose Ant-Man here, but I'm pretty sure there are other champions. Another one of his weaknesses is anti-evade. Bullseye has a potent hit and evade that he has and will use to cancel into a special attack, so anti-evade effects will always be valuable against him. It's worth noting that his hit evade is immune to ability accuracy modification, so slow or decelerate will have no effect. Another one is bleed immune. Bleed immune will negate some of Bullseye's damage. But the most important part of this is that bleed immunity will allow you to avoid Bullseye's attack and instant bleed damage with evade or dexterity. Another one, he doesn't miss, but occasionally he does. It's not consistent, but every now and again he will miss, so keep that in mind when using certain champions. And also auto blocks, when I was testing him, it seemed to throw off his rhythm, but auto block champions are somewhat decent against him for certain those, especially with that 50% auto block. And another one of his weaknesses, in my opinion, was he always crits. And I know how that sounds as his strength, but it's also one of his biggest weaknesses, because if he always crits against a champion like Mr. Sinister, he's just going to heal all that back. So in battlegrounds, Mr. Sinister is a great counter to Bullseye, so keep that in mind. Let's talk about his immunities. Now, he doesn't have traditional immunities like every other champion, but he is immune to fatigue. So keep that in mind. He's not immune to bleed, poison, shock, or any of those immunities. So far, it's just fatigue. And another one of his immunities is precision immunity. So he's immune to precision. Like, his immunities are so different and definitely unorthodox. It's not something I would expect, but I'm pretty sure you can use that to your advantage in some way, shape, or form. I can't think off the top of my head how I can use it. Now let's talk about his awaken ability. I do think he does need to be awakened and at high sig, because his awaken ability is very unique. His awakened ability, activating a special attack, passively reduces damage caused by the opponent by up to 99% for 6 seconds. So the higher the sig, the better. And whenever a champion is stunned or struck by a heavy, Bullseye has a 50% chance to purify 50% of all the debuffs up to a maximum of 10. The stun debuff from the parry mastery will not trigger this. So again, the higher the sig, the more likely he's going to purify damaging effects and reduce the opponent's debuff or special attack. Excuse me, I can't even talk. The special attack reduces damage caused by the opponent by up to 99%, nearly 100. So again, if you do get this guy, would I recommend using an awakening gem? I think I would. If you're going to go into battlegrounds, yes, I would definitely recommend using an awakening gem on him. Maybe a skill. I don't know if I would use a generic right away. His prestige is 18,280, not bad. He has pretty decent prestige. I don't know if that's top 5 or not. I don't even know the prestige anymore because 7 stars really just threw me all off. So I'm pretty sure y'all can figure it out. He does have some interesting synergies. One of his synergies is with Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. Dialed in passive increase the duration of their associated effects by additional 3%. And with Daredevil's Tail Kissing and Elektra, if Elektra is knocked out, start each fight with an indefinite 20% fury. If Bullseye is knocked out, start each fight with an indefinite 20% precision buff. Bullseye, if Daredevil or Hell Kissing is knocked out, start the fight with an indefinite 10% cruelty buff. So overall, those 2 synergies are okay. I don't think I would use the Daredevil's Hell Kitchen or Daredevil or Elektra synergies at all. I'll be more potent to use the dialed in passive from Hawkeye or Kate Bishop, especially since we all know how Kate Bishop is and how broken she is. And yeah, we don't have her as a 7-star. So that will always haunt me. But anyway, let's go on to his next 2 synergies, Deadpool and Deadpool X-Force. If you have those 2 on the team, start each fight with an indefinite meat armor buff granting 20% armor rating and 10% block proficiency, excuse me. The buff is removed if Deadpool is struck by a projectile or inflicted with a bleed. Bullseye block penetration increased by 5% for each personal cruelty and passive. So somewhat decent. And I feel like Kabam Mike definitely put this in the in his kit. Cyclops Blue Team and Cyclops New Xavier School. Intercepting the opponent with a beam attack grants a non-stacking 50% fury buff for 3 seconds. And Bullseye, if the attack doesn't critical hit a non-mutant opponent, gain a non-stacking 50% fury buff for 3 seconds. This buff will not re-trigger when already active and is not affected by ability accuracy reduction. So keep that in mind. So I think his synergies are not bad. Now on defense, I can't even lie, this guy might be a problem. Although, as you can see right here, I use Archangel, and since he doesn't have any immunities, Archangel literally just melted him. So if you have Bullseye on defense, use Archangel. He's going to destroy him. However, if you don't have him on defense, you might be in a world of trouble because he's going to evade like crazy. Especially when he has that killer instinct, he's going to evade left and right. And I was struggling right here with a Hercules, so definitely keep that in mind. He can be taken down, but you're going to have to play kind of aggressive. I mean, not aggressive, kind of passive aggressive to avoid his killer instinct because he's just going to keep evading. And if he throws an SP2 after he evades, it's going to do some insane damage. And I tried here with Dr. Doom, and again, kept getting hit because of that killer instinct. It's just like, bro, that's going to be an annoyance in Battleground. So I would definitely recommend using Archangel. Archangel, I think, is a really great counter for, I think he's the best counter for Bullseye, in my opinion, because that evade is something serious. So keep that in mind. So let's talk about relics. One of the good relics I'll recommend is the Black Panther relic. The Black Panther relic cruelty buffs and its interaction with guaranteed critical hits add a notable amount of extra damage to Bullseye's already potent kit. So if you have the Black Panther relic, I would definitely recommend putting it on Bullseye because he can definitely benefit from it. But the great thing is that's not the only relic that he's good with. Another relic he's good with is a Valkyrie relic with Bullseye raised block penetration stat, the impact passive from the SP2, and the ability to inflict effects through block all interact nicely with the Valkyrie relic. Use the Did We Just Become Friends synergy with Deadpool or Deadpool X-Force to get the most out of this. So either the Black Panther relic or the Valkyrie relic are best for him. Let's talk about Masteries. The recommended Masteries for him, I'll recommend Cruelty and Lesser Precision. With all of Bullseye's attack being guaranteed critical hits, any source of extra critical damage rating is a straight up upgrade to his damage. Pierce, with Pierce, Bullseye is able to ignore even more of the opponent's armor and resistance with critical hits, pushing him even closer to ignoring them all. And Liquid Courage and Double Edge, Bullseye's signature ability will allow him to purify away the debuff inflicted by these Masteries, allow him to only be inflicted by the upside of these effects. So I think he's pretty okay with the damage master because he can purify them all if he's high sig. So remember, he needs to be high sig for this, in my opinion. So keep that in mind when you're playing with Bullseye. I thought he was good without the damage masteries, but we all know that the community loves to do extra damage, and I know the vast majority of the community loves to play with the damage masteries on. So if you want that extra damage, especially while you're questing or maybe with a certain node in Battlegrounds, I would definitely recommend those masteries on him because he only will benefit from them. Now, what are my overall thoughts on Bullseye? I think overall he's a solid champion. He does have a lot of utility, and who doesn't like utility? I will admit, when they said that he always crits, I thought he would hit just a little bit harder than what he hits. Like, as you can see right there, he was doing like 1K crits, and that's nice. But with the ramped up health pools we have from Battlegrounds or Necropolis or any other content, it's going to be kind of hard to really take advantage of his always critting. So you're definitely going to need some of those synergies with some of those masteries and definitely those relics to really get his damage to the next level. But overall, I think he's a good champion. If I did pull him, I probably would take him to rank 3 as a 6-star, well, rank 4 as a 6-star. I don't know if I would awaken him right away because he does need high sig, and I would think you can spend your signature stones elsewhere. He does have high prestige, so if you definitely looking for high prestige, you can go that route. But overall, I do like him. I don't know if I will be, I don't think I will go hard for him in the crystals. He'll be just a nice addition, but with the skill class being what it is with like Nick Fury and Kate Bishop and Baron Zemo and Sung Chi, I think he has a lot to go up against when going in the skill class. But overall, decent champion. I like his utility a lot, and I like the fact that he always crits, even though I wish he did hit just a little bit harder than what he already does. So overall, I think he's a solid champion. But if you did like this video, please hit that like button. For anyone new here, if you can hit that sub button, I'll greatly appreciate it. Y'all take care. Have a great and wonderful day.